And now, everyone, it is now time that we shall go and conclude this episode off with the grand finale. And for this grand finale, I will go and discuss about a project that I've had people messaging me about what's gonna be going on with this. That apparently this is actually going to be a thing. And funny enough, this isn't necessarily new that has been revealed, because this actually happened a while back. Specifically, this occurred during the Golden Globe Awards. And I guess it was only until recently when people look back into what was reported and, you know, like all the glitz and glamour that's been going on. But then upon revisiting that, they noticed that this was said and that maybe we should be reporting this. We should let people know that apparently this is going on, because it sounds like some pretty significant news, especially when this franchise might be actually making a big comeback. And case in point, instead of me telling you directly what it is, I'm actually going to go and let Keegan-Michael Key explain what this is about.
Your latest animated.
My latest one is I'm about to start work on Hotel Transylvania 5.
I remember the first one when the first one came out.
And I play Marie the Mummy. That's a mouthful. You think? Yeah, I think I'll be able to say that, right?
How do you find your voice for each character? Is it just your voice and a little twist, or are?
All right, so that was pretty much all that they have mentioned. Keegan-Michael Key would then go and discuss about his process of doing voices, you know, doing characters, whether it be like with Toad in the Super Mario movie or Murray in the Hotel Transylvania films. And that was the big thing that he actually revealed, that Sony Pictures Animation is indeed in production to make a Hotel Transylvania 5. Now, keep in mind that as I am recording this, there is no official announcement coming from Sony Pictures Animation directly. They didn't officially say anything about it as of yet. For now, the only thing that we actually do know about it is literally just the fact that Keegan-Michael Key will be coming back voicing Murray. Now, it is worth mentioning, however, that we did get a little bit of a clue before of the potential return of Hotel Transylvania 5. And it's not necessarily the fact that we are also going to be getting a Netflix series called Motel Transylvania, but it was actually because of Genndy Tartakovsky, in which he mentioned that Sony was interested in actually revisiting the franchise. In fact, let me just go into my source here on Screen Rant, in which he actually says right over here, even, hold on a sec, let me just go and properly highlight this. Even though Transformania was meant to be the final film in the franchise, and Sony promoted it as such, Genndy Tartakovsky, who directed the first 3 movies and co-wrote the 4th, predicted over a year ago that another sequel would be greenlit and suggested that Sony was eager to revisit the series. So that's pretty much the thing. So far, this is our one confirmation that there is indeed going to be a Hotel Transylvania 5. Tabarnak, where do I begin? So, let me just go and say that, as you guys probably know, I am not a fan of the Hotel Transylvania films. I'm not even a fan of the first movie. I mean, I'll give it, it's not the worst thing that I've seen. It's not like the worst film from Sony Pictures Animation. Far from it, in fact. And it's far from being Adam Sandler's worst movie that he has made. And I mean, I will give it that there are a few good things that I can mention about it. There are some jokes that even I'll admit that are actually funny. And also, I do understand the concept they were going with. You know, I get it. You know, make a hotel for all different kinds of Halloween type monsters. Like there was definitely some great potential with that concept. But still, though, even with a great concept and even with some funny jokes, they were not enough for me to enjoy it. I just find that these films are just awful kids movies. They just feel like mechanically made kids features that honestly, like it's just slapped all together just to make some kind of Halloween themed movie. I was just not really on board with it. I mean, sure, like it's not my personal cup of tea, but I just didn't have a good time. I just find the story to be bland. The animation, like, I get the direction it wants to go, being more stylistic and be more reminiscent of Saturday morning cartoons, but I feel like it might have gone a little bit too far with it. And the way that they interpret that with computer animation is definitely not the best. I could think of many other features that kind of pull that style off better. I mean, at best, it's not my cup of tea. At worst, I just find that movie to just be bad. Not horrible, not terrible, but just bad. And then it just got worse and worse and worse, where with every movie they would go and produce, they became less funny, they became less enjoyable, and the quality just sinks lower and lower to the point that Transformania is so far standing as a strong contender as one of the worst animated movies of this decade so far. That one was just absolutely awful, and it really stood as something in which Sony just ran out of ideas with. Like, not only was it terrible, it was just so unnecessary. It really ended that franchise off with a massive thud. Like, the best that I could say is that maybe it's not as terrible as Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 or the Emoji Movie, but oh boy, it was close. It was very close to being that level of absolute terribleness. It really ended the franchise off on a massive thud, and it really showed that Sony really milked that franchise off dry to the bone. And even though it would be one thing that, okay, you want to continue the franchise off with a series. All right, fine. You can do that thing on the side. Maybe you have a few other ideas that you want to do that goes beyond the typical formula that you would go and repeatedly do in the movies. And I can imagine that the formula of Hotel Transylvania could probably work off a bit better than it could work off better as a series than it would in a movie. But now that you're making a fifth film, oh boy, really? After Transformania, you want to go and make another? Okay, let me just go and say, I think it is safe to say that I think that this is one of the worst ideas that Sony Pictures Animation has in a while, or at least in recent years. This is the worst idea that they got out there. And not to mention that this just sounds absolutely unnecessary. We don't need a fifth movie. We don't need the franchise to go and continue that way. And so much so, I just want to go and just say that I cannot be the only one who thinks that. Come on. Like, even amongst fans, I know we don't see eye to eye, but could you at least give it to me that we are on the same page, that making a fifth movie is probably not a good idea, that it can only lead to a freaking disaster? Like, seriously, I could think of 3 significant reasons why a fifth movie is just a bad idea. Like, number 1, it is obviously clear that Sony is only doing this for cash-grabbing reasons. Like, they're only doing this because now it's becoming trendy and popular for popular animated movie franchises to go and just keep on going, to go beyond just doing a trilogy. Like, even if a fourth movie would be considered stretching it a bit, now it's perfectly fine for them to go and continue. Even if they have established that the franchise was over, they might as well go and bring it back. We're seeing this with Toy Story 5. We're seeing this with Despicable Me 5. And we're even seeing this with Shrek 5 and even an Ice Age 6. Now, I know some people might argue that when it comes to Ice Age specifically, that technically they're kind of doing the same thing with what Hotel Transylvania is doing right now, considering that technically the last movie that they have made was the Disney Plus film, The Adventures of Buck Wild. And yes, I hate that movie as well. I think it is absolutely terrible. And I remember even back when I did the I think it was the top 5 worst animated films of 2022, I considered Buck Wild and Transformania to be on par as the worst animated features of their respective year. But the thing is, at the very least, with Buck Wild, that thing was already established to be just a Disney Plus exclusive. Like, Disney didn't necessarily have any major plans to make this like a main thing for the Ice Age franchise. They always planned this to be like a little side project that's just going to be on Disney Plus and nothing else. Whereas Transformania, on the other hand, even though that premiered on Amazon Prime, they originally intended it to have that be released on the big screen. They wanted that to actually be a main Hotel Transylvania movie, and for that to actually be the real 4th Hotel Transylvania film. Like with Ice Age, Boiling Point is the official 6th movie, not Buck Wild. But with Hotel Transylvania, however, they established that as the 4th movie. So it was only very recently that Sony considered that to be the end of the Hotel Transylvania franchise, or at least the end of the Hotel Transylvania movies. So now making a 5th feature, it just feels like now Sony just wants to hop onto the trend where they also want to have their 5th movie as well, which honestly feels ridiculous because it still feels fresh. It still feels recent that it was declared to be gone. Because, like, at least with, like, Shrek and even Ice Age, they took some time before they would go and return. Because both of those films are coming out in, like, 2027. So it would be over a decade that the last time that we've had a true feature from them. Even with Shrek, it was like, it's going to be, like, 17 or 16 years, or 17 years after the last one with Shrek Forever After. And even though, like, yes, that one also had, like, some technical spin-off features, like with Puss in Boots, but Puss in Boots already established that to be its own thing, especially with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So in that regards, I just feel like Sony is just doing this not because they have a great idea of what they want to do to return. It's just because they want to follow the trend that all the others, like what Disney and Universal is doing with their respective franchises. Like, yeah, we can have a 5th movie too. But then there is the second reason why I feel like this is just a disaster and that there's just no point for it, is because in canon, in the actual movie, or in the movies, they've established that it is done. We don't need any more Hotel Transylvania films because the legacy of the Hotel Transylvania itself is already finished. Because in the end of Transformania, they've established all that this, the whole legacy of Hotel Transylvania, it's done. It's finished. Dracula is officially retired. The entire Hotel Transylvania itself is burned down to the ground. And now Mavis and Johnny have the keys to this new Hotel Transylvania. And that's pretty much it. And maybe I'm wrong on the details, but they've also established that this new hotel can be a place where both humans and monsters can live together in harmony on this hotel, and that's it. So pretty much they have established that it is done. it is over. How the fridge can you continue from there? And this is not even to mention how there is just a stupid amount of characters that they would go and like include onto the picture that now it feels like it's way too much. They keep adding in all these different characters from not just the original, but also from the sequels, like with the second film and with the third movie as well. Like now it just feels like the cast is just way too cluttered. Like the characters really are just quantity over quality, to the point that like it just makes the fourth movie just so exhausting and really stretching out these personalities way too thin. Not to mention that the ideas that they would have with them are just like total flops. Like they didn't even go well with the fans. Case in point, look at the reactions to I forgot his name, but the David Spade Invisible Man, that they thought like, oh, he's a hunk when you actually do see him. No, it turns out that he looks more like a Jewish stereotype. But yeah, honestly, like in canon, how the fridge can you even continue on after the events of Transformania? Now, granted, the most that I could say that could end up actually helping Hotel Transylvania is that instead of looking forward, the best that they can do is go back. If they would go and do a prequel to Hotel Transylvania, like, you know, talk about like the making of the hotel itself, like how Dracula would go and create, maybe you could actually have some potential, especially if you could cut out a lot of the characters from the sequel and actually make a Hotel Transylvania movie that doesn't involve Johnny whatsoever. Maybe at that point you could probably have potential, to the point that maybe I could be on board with it. In fact, like the more I think about it, the more that even I'm thinking, okay, I could see where they could go in that direction, that maybe it could actually work out and even have me interested. But that's at best. But if they're going to go and continue with a sequel, that just spells doom altogether, because they've already established in the movie that Hotel Transylvania, and I mean specifically the hotel itself, is just straight up done. Even Dracula's job in the hotel is straight up done as well. But then you have the third reason. And this is the one that I'll give it to Sony, that maybe they could go and turn things around and they could go and actually fix up. But based on what we have seen in the fourth movie, this is the third biggest problem. And this is why a fifth movie just sounds like an absolute desperate cash grab. And that is the fact that they don't have their main actor. Are they going to go and make a Hotel Transylvania 5 without Adam Sandler? Now, granted, I will go and give Transformania this. Probably the best thing about that movie is that it does give Brian Hall that dream of actually voicing a main character in a big name animated feature. Like that, honestly, I have nothing but great things to say, especially to the guy. I want to give I want to give out a big congratulations to him for achieving that major goal that many actors dream of wanting to go and achieve. Like, that's great for him, but that is still considered a problematic factor for the franchise itself. Because say what you will about all these other franchises that are getting their big fifth movie out, or their big sixth movie or whatever, with those movies, at the very least, they still have their main actors on board to play their respective characters. Toy Story still has Tom Hanks and Tim Allen play as Woody and Buzz for Toy Story 5. Despicable Me still has Steve Carell playing as Gru in the Despicable Me films, and even in the Minions movies as well. And then you also got like Shrek 5, in which they announced that Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, and Eddie Murphy are going to be coming back as Shrek, Fiona, and Donkey respectively. And even Ice Age, sure, only Simon Pegg returned for that Buck Wild movie, but in Boiling Point, most of those people are going to be coming back. They actually got back Ray Romano, Dennis Leary, John Leguizamo, Queen Latifah, and Simon Pegg to return for their voices onto that. Are they real? But when it comes to Hotel Transylvania, however, are they still going to go and continue Hotel Transylvania without Adam Sandler? Or not just that, but Adam Sandler and Kevin James, considering that they both bailed out on the fourth movie. I heard it was scheduling conflicts, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's because Adam Sandler was just fed up with the franchise and just doesn't want to be involved with it anymore. But still, though, when it comes to that, would Sony be able to convince them to actually come back to the franchise, or are they still going to be having replacement actors whatsoever? And and I just bring that up mainly because of the fact that when it comes to Hotel Transylvania, you look, the thing is with Adam Sandler is that he is literally the face of Hotel Transylvania. Dracula is basically a cartoony Adam Sandler, and he was designed as a cartoony Adam Sandler. So it's kind of weird when you don't have Adam Sandler come back to play as an Adam Sandler voice, which is often, and like, again, I love that Brian Hall got that great opportunity, but it's a problematic factor with Transformania that got a lot of people questioning, why didn't they get Adam Sandler come back to voice the character that looks like Adam Sandler? There's just something very backwards about it. And honestly, if Sony is going to be moving forward with this and not bring back those actors like Kevin James and Adam Sandler, then that is a clear sign that it is nothing more but a desperate cash grab on their part. Maybe this is the one that I will give it to them, that I could be proven wrong, and maybe Adam Sandler will be coming back, that Sony will be giving them a massive paycheck for. But I don't know. After the fourth movie, I just have my doubts. But overall, when it comes to this announcement of Hotel Transylvania 5, I feel that this is honestly peak unnecessary. If people are going to go out of their way and make their rants about movies like Toy Story 5 or Ice Age 6 or Shrek 5 or whatever, if they call those unnecessary and shaming the studios for creating those movies, then honestly, Sony deserves a piece of that hate as well. Because this is so uncalled for that we need another Hotel Transylvania, considering that it's only been a few years that they declared that the movies were over. I can give it to them that they can go and keep on going with that Netflix series, but making a fifth feature altogether, I don't care if it would be released in theaters or even if it's just on streaming, like put it out on Amazon or Netflix or whatever. This is just unnecessary. I just feel like, honestly, watching Sony go back to making a Hotel Transylvania 5, it's like watching a friend texting their ex, hoping that they could get back to them. You know, I'm just there like, what the fridge are you doing, dude? Like, you don't want to go back with them. Like, you do remember how toxic they've been to you. Your life is just so much better without them. Why the hell would you want to go and come back? And all I can imagine is just Sony trying to respond back going, but, you know, they're just responding going like, I know, like, we've been through hard times. I know that, you know, she's been very bad to me, but I mean, I still have feelings for her, man. I still love Mavis. And I mean, dad ass though. I cannot deny dad ass. I miss her and I miss dad ass. And I know I'm making a stupid joke here, but I mean, I actually do know some guys who are actually like that, where they, you know, that little element of lust can actually bring them back into some kind of toxic relationship. That is a thing. Keep that in mind. And that's honestly how I feel with the way that Sony is going back to freaking Hotel Transylvania. They want to go back to their freaking toxic ex. So yeah, but with all that said, I just want to go and say I cannot be the only one who feels that way. I can't be the only one who feels like, no, this is unnecessary. This is not a thing this is not a thing that people can just go and pass off by saying, oh, that AniMat, we know him and his wacky ways with how he feels about Hotel Transylvania. Of course he would do this wacky little rant about Hotel Transylvania 5. No. This cannot be passed off as a fun little meme. This cannot be passed off as a fun little joke here. Come on, man. You gotta give it to me that freaking Hotel Transylvania 5 is at the very least an unnecessary cash grab of an idea. All right? I'm just saying. I'm begging you, please, at least give me this one thing that we don't need a fifth movie. I know, I'm just goofing around on this, but yeah, I think it is safe to say that with all this, I'm not looking forward to a fifth Hotel Transylvania film. It just sounds like a freaking cash grab, and I know that there could be that very tiny little chance that maybe it could work out. Maybe it could actually turn out to be good. Maybe it could turn out to be the best Hotel Transylvania movie. But those chances are like lottery numbers small. So I am not looking forward to this thing whatsoever.